What up, YouTube Live? YouTube Live streaming. This is Rama screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, reporting to you from inside my car. And outside is raining like crazy. It's pouring today, man. It's pouring in Southern California. Um, and I'm not feeling 100% right now. My health. So I'm just sticking around outside local Starbucks, like I got nothing better to do. But I want to discuss this latest news with you guys. I don't want to be just talking by myself here. So if you can chime in and share your thoughts as well. This is the bombshell, or one of the biggest news today in the geek world, on the web. And I don't want to wait till tomorrow to talk about it. So I figured, like, let me get inside my car, go outside of Starbucks, and do this live stream. So let's get right to it. Stan Lee, the legendary. Just Woke says, I believe it, but not to sound like a bad guy, but he couldn't have been intimidating. Yeah, that's thanks for chiming in. Yeah, so your belief in this news is valid, Justin Wowok, okay? So I'm not saying that you know, because we don't know yet what the truth is, but right now Stan Lee has been accused of sexual misconduct. So the keyword is alleged. Um, but to your point, Justin, I want to read the news here straight out of an outlet, so we all kind of get the picture of what's going on instead of just me telling you. And I'm reading from uh, page 6. Okay, so here's what happened. According to the Daily Mail, apparently the Daily Mail uh, is the source for this. The nursing company that took care of Stan Lee for years had accused Stan Lee of groping and harassing their nurses. So Stanley is in his 90s, I think 95 years old. So when you get to that age, you need some care. Okay, there are some things that you want, you're not able to do anymore physically. So apparently Stanley has been employing this nursing company that has been sending various nurses to his home in West Hollywood. And so these nurses have been filing complaints of misconduct. And so, what exactly did Stanley do? According to this outlet, the nurses claim that Stanley asked them to perform oral sex on him in the shower. He that The outlet says that the nurses claim that he asked them to pleasure him in the bedroom, and that he had been walking around naked, you know, in the presence of these nurses. So, and sexually harassing them. That's what the outlet says here. Quote: He doesn't seem to care what people think of him. He has lost his filter. There has been a stream of young nurses coming to his house in West Hollywood, and he has been sexually harassing them, and he finds it funny. He is also very handsy and has groped some of the women. It's unacceptable behavior, especially from an icon like Stan. That's a quote from one of the sources that came forward to the outlet Daily Mail. Now, for those of you who have been living under the rock and don't know who Stan Lee is, no worries. I'm sure Under the Rock is very comfortable. No judgment here. But Stan Lee is what you call a legend among the fandom and geekdom community, because he, for years, he was a comic book writer and editor for Marvel Comics, and he created um, many of the iconic characters in Marvel Universe. We're talking about Spider-Man, Iron Man, the Hulk, Daredevil. He also created Fantastic Four, and he created those characters um, in collaboration with other legends like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. So that's a bit of Stan Lee background for those of you who may not know him. So and Stanley always does these funny cameo appearances in Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. So for years till now, he has been nothing but a beloved character. Okay, everybody loves Stanley. Everybody would pay and stand in line for hours at comic book conventions just to get a chance to meet Stanley and get an autograph and get a selfie with him. Stanley is like a geek god, just like other geek gods, Peter Jackson, Guillermo del Toro, James Cameron. So that's what Stanley is. So that is why this revelation or these allegations are such a bombshell because of the iconic stature of Stanley's reputation. Um, of course, Stanley's lawyer is fighting back, and let me read you their quote. Uh, Mr. Lee categorically denies these false and despicable allegations, and he fully intends to fight to protect his stellar good name and impeccable character. We are not aware of anyone filing a civil action or reporting these issues to the police, which for any genuine claim would be the more appropriate way for it to be handled. Instead, Mr. Lee has received demands to pay money and threats that if he does not do so, the accuser will go to the media. Mr. Lee will not be extorted or blackmailed and will pay no money to anyone because he has done absolutely nothing wrong. That's what the Stanley's representatives, Stanley's lawyers, that's the statement from them. Um, so what do you think about this? Here's my thought. When I tweeted this, I tweeted asking, "Hey guys, is there any truth to this?" And one of Rama Screen's fans, Carrie, replied, and I want to get the right quote here. She said, "What if Stanley is getting dementia and doing things that are inappropriate because of sundowning or something that he's not aware of? My grandfather did the same thing when he was in a nursing home before he passed away." Fair point. Okay, fair point. Thank you, Carrie, for sharing your thought. And I think I retweeted and replied your tweet by saying, um, I said to the effect of, okay, that's one theory. Okay, that is one possible theory. I would not rule out age or dementia as a possible explanation. It doesn't excuse the behavior. Okay, it doesn't excuse groping and asking for lewd acts. It doesn't excuse it, but it is a possible theory explanation, because I have grandparents. I don't know if you have grandparents, and they did, my grandparents did go into dementia or senile, before they passed away. Their senile stage where they forget who they are, they forget their surrounding, they forget their family members. Unfortunately, that's what we all look forward to when we get older. Well, look forward to is not really the right word. I'm not looking forward to losing, my memory and losing my thought, but it's gonna happen to all of us. We're all gonna die. We're gonna get old. We're gonna forget. Okay. And I'm I'm not saying sexual misconduct will be one of the symptoms, but when you get older, especially to that age, almost close to 100, um, you I think you start doing things without realizing them. I know when you get, you know, to that twilight age, you start behaving like you were teens or you were children, meaning meaning you don't have a care for rules and boundaries anymore. Um, so again, that does not excuse what Stanley did if he did what he did. But that is a possible explanation. I would not rule that out. Um, I don't want to be too quick to judge Stanley. I don't want to be too quick to put him on the same category as, the other famous deviants, other famous pervs like Kevin Spacey and Louis C.K. and Harvey Weinstein. I don't want to put Stanley on that category just yet. Um, but what do you guys think? I remember reading a news, I think a few months ago, where former President George Herbert Walker Bush, not George W. Bush, but his father, uh, George Herbert Walker Bush, was accused of groping women whenever he posts photos with them. So, because he's in his 90s, I believe. So, whenever he takes pictures in a group photos, or next to a pretty young, fair young women, and he'd be in his wheelchair, right? He's in his wheelchair now, so that some women have accused him of placing his hand on their buttocks and making some comments. Um, so when I read this news about Stan Lee, that's the first thing that came to mind. The whole George Herbert Walker Bush thing. Again, it doesn't excuse the behavior, but I'm just saying, man, we can't rule out the possibility that old folks, they sometimes some of them don't have boundaries anymore, because they don't realize, or they are not aware of such thing as boundaries anymore. um, I guess the two bigger questions would be, first of all, how will this affect the promotion for Black Panther movie that's coming up next month? I haven't received any invite yet. I don't know if I will get to cover the press junket. I'm looking forward to at least attend the press screening. Uh, how will this scandal surrounding Stanley affect Marvel's Black Panther? I'm sure Stanley will have a cameo in Black Panther, and by this time they're not going to be able to edit that out, and I don't know if they should. Um, I don't think it will affect that Stanley is retired, says Just Woke. Agreed. But remember, Just Woke, Stanley always shows up in Marvel movies. He has cameos. Um, will his cameo be receiving boos, you know, when he shows up on the screen? Um, I mean, at the press junket or during interviews with the talents of Marvel, Kevin Feige or the stars of Black Panther, will the press ask them questions regarding Stan Lee? And if they do, that would be kind of awkward. They'd be like, we're trying to promote the movie here. Let's change the subject. Maybe before even the press get to ask questions, they probably get screened on what questions they're allowed to ask. So that's just a possibility. I'm shooting from the hip. You know, random thoughts about what could happen. How might this affect the movie? Because the promotion, the press tour will happen soon. The movie comes out second week of February. The second big question is for you guys. Marvel, I mean not Marvel. Stanley's wife, lovely wife. She was wonderful. Joan, that's her name here. Joan passed away last summer. May she rest in peace. Um, but how long had Stanley's alleged groping habit? How long had that been occurring? Did Joan know and kind of excuse or dismiss it because of Stanley's age? Um, I don't know, but that is one of the questions that crossed my mind. Um, so that's the big news that happened today. I want to throw the ball to your court, see what you think about it. Um, and for those of you who did chime in, like you just woke, thank you. Share your thoughts in the comment section below as well. I want to hear what you think about this topic. Does this change your view of Stan Lee? Does this change your view of Marvel? Do you think there should be an accountability? Do you think there should be Should Marvel sever ties with Stan Lee? I mean, these are nurses, man. What do they have to gain to lie about it? Um, but I don't know. What do you think? Who do you think has the more credible argument here, the nurses or Stanley's? And what do you think the consequence or the aftermath of this whole thing should be, or how should this ensue? Okay, share your thoughts in the comments section below. And again, as always, subscribe to my channel, share this video with all your friends on the YouTube verse. I want to hear what they think about this as well. And if you can support Rama Screen channel, please do so at patreon.com/Rama Screen. $1 or $2 per month can go a long way. Waffle Davy says lies. Okay, fair enough, Waffle Davy. Thanks for chiming in and sharing your thought um, about this topic. So go to patreon.com/Rama Screen and support this channel today. Let's rock this. Share your comments.